Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be continuing my reread of the Lux Chronicles while I read Onyx by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and I'm going to try to get it where there's no light in the camera. This book sent me for a loop because I have read this and I know how things end. I think it's been a while since I've read it, so I really don't remember, but rereading it has me like, what? So let's get into this review, but before I do that, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, so we start off with this book, and Katie has a fever. She's feeling really hot, and she's like, okay, I need to go outside. So she goes outside in her white t-shirt, gets into the lake where she even went in her white t-shirt, and Damon sees her before she gets in, and he's like, do not go in there, you will freeze to death. And he takes her out because she goes in there and takes her to the hospital. Now, mind you, she thinks this is a dream, but she'll eventually realize that this is not a dream because she told Damon that she's like in love with him and she wants to be with him and whatnot. So Katie's at the hospital, fading in and out of consciousness, and her mom is concerned. But then this doctor, who we later find out is Will, comes and gives her some drugs to help her with her fever because they think it's the flu. She goes back to school, and we meet Blake. And at this point, I'm like, ugh, Blake, like, is this guy gonna be like the Bachelorette Blake? Like, is he gonna be nice on Becca's season, and then we get to Bachelor in Paradise, and he's just wilding out, and you're like, whoa, what happened between Becca and Bachelor in Paradise? I mean, Stagecoach, but wow, wild. Blake is from California, and he's in town, and I'm thinking, wow, what draws people from these great areas to West Virginia? That is just sad. Like, I mean, not even Virginia, but West Virginia. In math class, Katie asked Damon to talk later, and so they meet in the library, and Katie's like, how did you know that I was not feeling well? And he was like, I saw you get into the pool, into the lake. And she's like, oh my god, that was real? He's like, yeah, and just so you know, I'm gonna make you fall in love with me and make sure you say that you're in love with me by New Year's Day. And I'm like, oh, he got a mission. Okay, next we get to Simon, the guy that tried to assault Katie the night of homecoming, and he's been telling the entire school that he and Katie hooked up. So then Damon beats him up. Damon made a reference to All Quiet on the Western Front, and I'm like, wow, you are so deep. And Katie's like, you read the classics? And I'm like, oh my god, he reads All Quiet on the Western Front. Shout out to you, Miss Diaz. Now, Blake is trying to woo her. So Blake, the guy that just came from California, he's in her biology class, and he's trying to woo her. So he sat next to her one time at lunch, and he was like so straightforward. He's like, okay, do you want to go out? Do you want to go out? Like, bold, but okay. So they go out to eat, and when they come back, this branch is about to hit Blake. So Katie freezes it. Blake pretends like it didn't even happen. Like, Katie and Blake both pretend like it didn't even happen. And then Damon's there, and he's like, oh, hello, Buford. Hello, Brick. Hello, Bill. Just any B name you come up with. And then he starts rhyming Blake with other things like flake, cake. Probably not cake though, because cake is good, and Damon obviously doesn't like Blake. Katie's birthday. Her mom and Will, the hospital doctor that helped her when she had the flu, they came and they had dinner and they left. So now Katie is like, well, I'm gonna clean and read and be productive. So she puts on the Age Jams, and she's, I'm on the hunt, I'm after you. And I'm hungry like the wolf. And Damon comes in and he's like, actually, the right lyrics are this. And she's like, what? First of all, you came in here, and two, you know the lyrics. And then they have the most amazing discussion about books and music. And Damon makes her birthday amazing. And it's just so adorable. Also, side note, we love that Damon named his car Dolly. Okay, obviously something's been up with Katie. She's exhibiting some traits. And I'm thinking, I was like, okay, Andrew does not like Katie. He may tip the DOD off. And then I was like, Matthew also doesn't like Katie. He may also tip the DOD off. I forgot what had happened, right? So I knew Blake was somehow fishy. But I forgot all about Will. But we'll get into that later. In this book, we learn more about the DoD, the Department of Defense, if you do not know that. And Area 51 is real. They tell us that. They've been killing aliens, mostly Luxon, that haven't been assimilating. And Damon tells us about his and his sister's integration process into America and the world in general. And now we begin Damon's courting. He brings her favorite strawberry smoothie and a cookie. And he holds his cookie in his mouth and he's like, come and get it. And I'm like, ooh, beautiful. He brings her flowers and all types of stuff. And I'm like, wow. Take notes. Take notes. Go back to the DOD. So because of last book where Katie killed Baruch, there was, and she let out all the source, there was a huge blip. It destroyed a satellite and whatnot, and so the DoD's like, okay, we must investigate. And so they know Damon's the strongest, so they are trying to investigate Damon, and in the process of investigating Damon, Katie is with them. So we meet Nancy Husher and Brian Vaughn, and I'm like, okay, I remember these names, I know they're bad, let's just remember and keep on pushing. So they want Katie to come with them. So Nancy drops Katie off, and Brian is gonna, and Brian and Damon are gonna talk. And so Damon and Katie were like, oh yeah, we're looking for my phone, because I said that Katie lost her phone. But when Katie gets out of Nancy's car, her phone goes off, and I'm like, wow. Was silence not a thing when this book was being written? This book was written in 2012. I'm pretty sure mute and silent were a thing. So now we cut to Thanksgiving, and Katie doesn't want to come over for Thanksgiving because Ash, Andrew, and Adam are going to be there, and Matthew's going to be there, and she doesn't want to impose on their family. So then Damon comes over, and they have their own little Thanksgiving, and he brings out the wine and the turkey and the dressing, and they talk, and it's a little nice date at home. And then after they eat, he still has this package. He's like, okay, well, what are we doing? And he's like, we are going to hang up a Christmas tree. And then I lose it, because we learned a little bit before that before her dad died, she and her father would put up the Christmas tree. And I'm like, the fact that Damon remembered and like valued that enough that he's gonna do that, I was literally like sobbing. And now we learn more about Snake Blake. Blake is a hybrid, and we know this because while Blake and Katie are eating, and Katie's about to break it off with him, and Arum comes in, and Blake freezes the people and kills the Arum, and then all types of stuff. David was like, what are you? And he's like, I'm like her. And everyone's like, what? So now we have Blake saying he has to train Katie, and at the beginning I'm like, now I remember why I don't like him. This is mad sus. This is suspicious. But while he's training her, he does some crazy stuff, okay? He wants her to learn how to use fire to light candles. In the process, she lights up her own fingers and has second-degree burns. He throws a knife at her to get her to stop it. A knife at her. And you know why he did it? Because it happened in Buffy. Because Donald Sutherland threw a knife at Buffy. Okay? Did that make it okay? Buffy was also pretty mad that Donald threw the knife at her. Come on, guys. Take notes. Blake also lets Katie know that because they are part human, because they are mostly human, that they tire out much more quickly than the Luxon, which is why it is recommended that the mutated, but I don't really like mutated. I want to say genetically modified, because that feels better. Also, that also feels kind of bad. Let's just say genetically enhanced. Opal will help strengthen their abilities and keep them from tiring so fast. And I'm like, Opal! The title of the next book. She goes to pick up books, and she sees Brian Vaughn put Bethany back in the car. And I'm like, because I don't remember this. I swear that we didn't see like Bethany or Dawson until like the third book, but I guess I'm wrong. Well, now I know I'm wrong. But I was like, oh my god, I didn't remember this. Oh my god, it's Bethany. Katie tells the wrong person about Bethany first. Like, she goes to Blake and is like, Bethany, and Bethany must be Liz, and Liz is all. I was like, okay, that's great, but why aren't you telling Damon, okay? Because if Bethany's alive, then that means that Dawson's probably also alive, because once again, if you see nobody, then nobody is dead. So then Katie finally tells Damon, and they decide to stake out Brian Vaughn's house. So they're staking out the house. Brian goes in. Nancy also goes in. And then Aram, whatever, goes into the house and is greeted by name, which means that the DOD and the Aram have been working together this entire time. And at this point, Katie is like, wow, I'm paranoid. I'm like, this is the U.S. government. I'm talking about, like, who do I trust? She's probably on her phone like, FBI agent, don't rat me out. And now, another reason why Blake is an idiot and sucks. He purposely took her outside of the Beta Quartz region to kill an Aram. Yeah, he risked her life. Not once with the knife, but twice with the Aram. Isn't he just splendid? And then it hits me. It is Will. I tell you, so Damon and Katie, like, are sleeping in her room because, like, she's obviously hurt because, like, the Aram attacked her and he heals her, and they just sleep in his room, and she wakes up and they wake up because her mom is like, what is going on here? And Will is there, and for me it clicks because Katie says, I see something in him that I remember, and I was like, I remember now. It's Will. Will is the evil one. Why are you doing this? Ah! I don't remember how he's evil, but I'm like, oh, I remember it. He is evil, okay? You can't spell evil without the I. You can't spell Will without the I. Therefore, Will is evil. Boom. And then we get the revelation that Bethany was Will's niece. And I'm like, wow. Red flag is everywhere. Red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. Okay, I don't care if the red flag is burgundy or cranberry. Okay, it's still a red flag. So, mind you, this is Christmas. They're working, making dinner. Katie's making a meal. Will leaves, and the bowl is about to flip over, and she freezes the bowl, and Will sees her. Okay, well, it's not been clarified, but Will sees her. But Will has to have seen her because that's books. Katie and Damon are trying to find Dawson, and they think they'll be at this building because Damon saw Brian drive to the building. So when they go to the building, Damon goes out and he's trying to investigate. But then Katie sees an expedition truck, which, you know, is the calling card of the government. And she texts Damon like, oh, we have company. But he doesn't answer. So she gets out and gets apprehended by the guards because they put, what we now find out is Onyx on her skin, and she, like, buckles. So then Brian, or so we thought, comes up and is like, ah, yes, I've been watching her for a long time. Psha! The source, and it turns out to be Damon, your boy. So they skirt your and yeah. Now, reason 37065489724 of why Blake is crazy and suspicious and needs to go away is that Katie finds out that Brian knew Blake and Blake's dad. And I'm like, hello? This is sus. Tell Damon. But does she? No. And that's really frustrating. But when Katie finds out, she's like, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to Brian's house. I'm going to figure this out. So she uses the source to undo the lock. And she's going through some stuff. And she sees that the DOD, they have been taking pictures of Katie since Katie has arrived. They took pictures of her and Damon when she was in the red swimsuit and they were swimming. Took pictures of her and Dee planting flowers, going to the movies. They have been watching Katie, Dee, Damon, everyone, and it's crazy. And she also finds like a receipt with like DB on it, and she's like, well, what does this mean? Is this Damon black? Is this Dawson black? Is this Dee black? Who knows? So she's about to leave, and someone's like, what are you doing here? And guess who it is? None other but Bethany. And I'm like, we meet her, I was like, wow, I really forgot all about this. But Bethany is basically like, you need to get out. And Katie says, well, what about Dawson? And Bethany freaks the freak out, okay? Straight out of Victorious. And like uses the force, slams Katie against the wall, and is like, and says, you need to leave now, and kicks Katie out of the house. I can't even count how mad I still am at Blake. But Blake says he's going to take Katie out to dinner. I don't know why she would agree to go out with him after knowing all that she knows. But she gets into his car and she finds Simon's watch. And then she's like, well, so we know how Simon disappeared. And Blake's like, well, I had to turn him over because he saw you crack the windows. But then Blake turns evil, like I predicted, like I knew, okay? No one with the name Blake is nice. And I apologize if your name is Blake. I'm sure you're lovely. Blake says, oh yes, I am responsible for this. I was supposed to train you and hand you over to the DOD and find out who turned you because I needed to get what I wanted and I wanted to get the person who turned me back, which is fine. We understand his reasons, but it's not fine, okay? Because guess what? In his process of all of this, he almost kills Dee and he kills Adam. What did Adam do to you, huh? What did Adam do to you? Nothing. But you killed the boy for no reason. And it's like, wow. And I don't even like Ash. And I don't even like Andrew. But I would never wish that upon anyone. Like, there was no reason for Adam to die. No reason. Blake is going to call Brian. And Brian is going to take Katie to the DOD. But Dee and Adam come up to take her to the New Year's Eve party. And Katie is really mean. She's like, no, leave. I don't even want to be your friend. So Dee knows something's up. So she calls Damon. And she drives up. She drives back a little bit, but then she and Adam like bust through Katie's house, and Blake zaps Adam twice with the source. So then Damon arrives, and he's like, I'm about to go off. Mind you, Brian and 2 Aram have arrived. So Damon and Katie kill the Aram, and there's Brian and Blake, and they run out. Damon kills Brian, because Brian tries to shoot Damon, and Damon flips the bullets around, and it goes into Brian. And on the brink of killing Blake, Damon says, I'm gonna let you go, but if I see you again, it's on sight. And then Katie and Damon have this emotional fight, and it's so gut-wrenching because it's so well crafted, because Damon is vulnerable, because Adam is dead, and he just feels so heartbroken because he has nothing to do, and he's just mad because if Katie had trusted him, if Katie had told him about Blake trying to get her killed by a room or any of that, or how Blake was related to Brian, then Damon possibly could have done something to prevent this. But Katie didn't, and then Katie just wanted to protect herself by learning how to fight, and it was just so emotional and gut-wrenching. And now it's New Year's Day, and Katie goes to the lake because she needs to think, and Damon is there, and they talk about their emotions, and then they end up becoming an OTP like I predicted. Hashtag Cayman, hashtag Datey. I like Datey. Hashtag Datey. The next day, they're at school. Damon says that he and Katie are gonna go see Dee in the middle because Dee is still struggling because Adam is dead. Adam, her love, Adam, her amor, is dead. So, but then Katie in Matthew's room gets called to the office, and Will says, oh my god, your mother has been in an accident. And Katie is freaking out. She texts Damon, yo, my mother's at this hospital, please come. And Will, the SOB, injects her, and she's unconscious. Next thing you know, she wakes up in a cage, and the officers put the Onyx shackles on her, and she's just screaming straight for hours. And then Will comes by and is like, ah, I see that you've discovered what this place is. How are you doing? And he reveals his evil scheme, how he turned in his own niece, Bethany, and Dawson because he wanted to be turned into a genetically enhanced human, and how he pretended to like Katie's mom to get closer to Katie, and how he's been watching Katie for the whole entire time, and how the only reason why Katie is trapped is because he plans on having Damon to heal him so that he is a genetically enhanced human. And this is what, and Also, we have the revelation in the scene with the torture, how Onyx is bad for Luxon and the genetically enhanced humans, because Damon is like, I haven't seen Onyx in years. Like, they use that in Area 451 for the Luxon that weren't assimilating, like, and they use that to torture them. And so Will shoots himself in the leg, and Damon heals him, but because Damon is not willing, and because Will was not on the brink of death, Damon and Katie are hoping that the mutation doesn't hold. But in order for Will to get out, he said that that the address he gave Katie would lead to Dawson. So as soon as Damon gets Katie out of the holding cell, they go to the address, and Dawson is not there. But when we get back to the Black House, Dee opens the door and she's crying, but she's smiling because Dawson is home. But Dawson doesn't seem to have any memories. And that's the end. That's the end. I literally turned the page and I was like, Jennifer? Where's the rest? So, yeah. Now I've got to read the rest. Thank you for watching my book review. Please feel free to comment any other series you want me to reread. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you need something to tie you over, I suggest watching the first Lux Chronicles review, which you probably should have done anyway because this is the second book. My Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare book review, and the Descendants 3 book tag. Thank you. Bye.